Welcome to this episode of the GymInformer podcast. I'm Chris Gilbert, your host for this episode, and today our guest is Kyle Gabriel, one of the owners at True Performance Fitness. This was a really cool fitness center. I got a chance to work out there, and I'm really excited to talk to Kyle about it. But before we get started, let's take a pause and I'll show you the photos I took while I was at the gym.
As always, if you like this review, please hit the like button and follow us here on Instagram.
All right, Kyle. The True Performance hasn't been open that long, right?
Nope. No, we opened 2021.
Okay, so as a fairly new gym owner, how did that come about? What was the steps, or how did you suddenly go from what you were doing to now being a gym owner?
It's a funny story for me, at least. So I was actually brewing beer at a local brewery, and two of the owners that I'm now partners with, they knew I was doing a little bit of fitness stuff. I was doing some meal plans. I'd started a meal prep company where I was cooking for people, but hadn't really got it off the ground running. And they knew I was going to leave the brewery at some point. Decided they were going to build a gym, and then asked if I was interested in being their head trainer, coming on, possibly putting a kitchen in the back. So I did that, agreed, helped them kind of throughout the whole process, moving equipment in, putting things together, showing up on cleaning days, came and opened the gym, closed the gym if I needed to, pretty much was here all hands on deck whenever I needed. And then they kind of offered to bring me in as a partner, because I was working for them and doing well. So I ended up being part owner, but I was not originally, when True Performance was formed, I was not an owner. I was brought in at a later date.
But it sounds like you had a lot to do with how the gym came about.
They had the idea and they had a direction. A lot of the original purchases were done kind of before myself.
Mm-hmm.
And then as I've slid into more of a role, kind of I help guide some of the equipment purchases and stuff like that. So and reaching out to Jesse over at Grizzly Bear, yourself, those things I'm tackling now. But in the original idea was not mine. That was their idea, and they kind of they got rolling, and I kind of got lucky enough to be brought in.
Nice. Now, as far as the equipment selection goes, since you brought it up, that's where I was going next. Seems like you've got an interesting mix. You got some old school equipment in there, and then you've got some new school stuff. You brought in some Arsenal and some other newer brands. How do you guys decide what goes on the floor? Because it's a pretty big gym.
Yeah.
But you've got a lot of space to fill, and you're also still trying to dedicate space for a lot of different groups of people. It looks like you've got your fitness center groups, but it also has kind of a bodybuilding feel. So how do you guys decide what's going to go on the floor?
We take feedback and suggestions, but also I've got a pretty good ear to the ground, as far as seeing what equipment the bodybuilders and everyone's using. The great stuff about bodybuilder equipment, yes, it's those premier brands that bodybuilders can use, but the general population can still use that equipment. And it's nicer than anything you're going to find around here. We purchased a lot of Precor when we opened. We were at an auction, or they were using auction houses, and it was, of course, the backside of COVID. So a lot of gyms were closing. So we picked up a lot of Precor. Some of that stuff will be staying, but overall, there's just better pieces out there for some of these things. And technology, of course, as you know, in the gym has evolved, and machines have gotten a lot better. So our goal over time is to just kind of evolve and buy those better pieces, and phase out some of that Precor stuff. But again, not all of it. Some of it's good. And I said, we have a couple
of pieces.
Yeah, exactly. So not all of them need to go. And it's not just Precor. We have some other machines that they're on our list of things that we want to phase out in time. But as you've seen our gym, we have a lot of different focuses and a lot of different things going on. So we have the basketball court going in. We're not primarily focused on just putting in gym equipment. So
right,
we have a good mix of things, and we kind of have to just prioritize projects and The basketball court was purchased, so now the next phase will be buying some more gym equipment, and that's just kind of how we phase things.
Now, as far as the equipment goes, because you brought up a question I want to ask you about, I noticed that a lot of the new stuff was Arsenal. Is there a reason you went with Arsenal?
So Arsenal, the two reasons I went with, I mean, Arsenal's pendulum squat I do love, and the cable tower. The cable tower itself, we were between that and Atlantis. We wanted a taller cable tower. We have the old school pre-core one, which is shorter. But when getting we got those prime like green adjustable bars and handles. With those, for anyone taller like myself, on that pre-core rack we had, you can't get a full extension on like a pull down.
Right.
So we wanted a taller rack, but we also wanted to keep the older rack because the taller Arsenal rack, I think it's 6 inches taller than our previous rack. We wanted to be able to accommodate both like the shorter population and the taller population, so that everyone can use it. So it came down to Atlantis and Arsenal, and Arsenal just was a little bit cheaper. So we ended up going Arsenal, and again, the quality is still there. And then with the pendulum squat, again, it could have been Atlantis, it could have been Arsenal. Arsenal standardly comes in red and black, and our colors are red and black, so it's an easy order for us.
Oh yeah. I think they have a little less lead time right now too. So
we waited, I think, 7 months for the cable tower, and I think 6 months for that pendulum squat. We don't have anything new Arsenal wise on my radar. We're moving not in a different direction, but just the next pieces won't be Arsenal. But those first two we did grab were Arsenal and then Booty Builder.
Yeah, I saw those. Yeah, I really liked the back hyper or the reverse hyper.
Yeah, that's
that was really cool.
They literally sent us out a thing that we had bought from before, the hip thrust machine. And they sent us out a thing like, hey, this is new and it's coming out. And he sent it over to me, and I was like, I haven't seen one of those. Let's grab it because it's just different.
No, it's super cool. Yeah, I used one at another gym in Rockville that was super cool, and I hadn't seen it before that. So now you brought up the basketball court, which I think is really interesting because I've talked to a lot of gym owners that have a basketball court and they're getting rid of their basketball courts. It's interesting that you guys are putting one in. Like, what's the thought process for going in that direction, because basketball courts take up a lot of space.
Yeah. And we just happen to have a lot of outdoor space. Our court is outdoors. We put a concrete pad in. I don't know if it was here when you were here.
No.
But it's a concrete slab. It's going to have a net that goes like 3 on all 3 sides. And then it's got Snap Sports. So it's an outdoor Snap Sports court. It'll be red and black. Our logo is going to be at center court, nice glass backboards. It's just it's a nice piece to have, in our opinion, to kind of cater to, like, we have an athletic trainer that specializes in athletic sports performance. So there's back behind the basketball court, we have a giant field and a track. So if you want to go run the track, you go run the track. If you want to go in the field and do like footwork drills and go catch a pass, you go do that. If you want to practice your jump shot, you come out and you practice your jump shot. We're going to be trying to get a Vertimax here as well. So being able to train for improve your vertical. So we're just kind of blending a little bit of that, like sports performance, bodybuilding, beginners can come. I mean, we of course, as you saw, we had the strongman community,
Right.
and we have the kegs out there for those guys, the yokes, all of that stuff. We just kind of took everything under one roof because we have the space to do it, essentially.
Yeah, you guys do have a lot of space. I mean, you've got that giant adult jungle gym. Like,
exactly.
most gyms wouldn't even dream of having that thing just because it takes up so much space. But how big is the gym?
The gym's 15,000 square feet.
Okay, it seems bigger.
It's the high ceilings. It's the high warehouse ceilings. And then I know you weren't here on a day where we can open the doors, but it really feels open when we can open all the garage doors and it's got like fresh breeze blowing through. Then it opens up.
Yeah, it was really rainy and nasty the day I was there. So
you'll have to come back on a sunny time.
Yeah, the concrete pad may have been there and I wouldn't even notice because I was like out of my car into the gym.
Yeah.
And it was dark when I got there. So that's
I don't believe it was installed when you were here. I think that was shortly after.
Now, as far as the atmosphere of the gym, like you talked about, you're kind of trying to meet like a whole bunch of different audiences, and that's probably that seems really smart considering the fact that where you guys are based in West Virginia, there's like I looked and there's not another gym anywhere near you guys. Like, because when I go out to areas, I try to hit more than one gym at a time. There's not another gym anywhere near you guys that is even remotely close to your level.
No.
So it's probably great for the community that you guys are trying to hit a whole bunch of different levels and a whole bunch of different communities from the fitness area. But it seems like from an atmosphere standpoint, you guys are really leaning into that bodybuilding gym vibe. Is that on purpose?
Yeah, I mean, it is on purpose. It's a cool look. It's a cool feel. A lot of the owners have traveled to gyms. We take things that we like and we kind of have expanded on that. And then, I mean, you look at the gyms in your area, maybe not directly in our area, but as you know my area, we're not far from the shop. We're not far from Vintage. We're not far from DMV Iron, RVA Iron, like
Right,
all those guys. Like, if you want to look at the footprint for success, you look at those guys and you watch what they're doing, and you continue to see that they're able to keep building. Like DMV Iron, I think, has 2 locations. They're planning on a 3rd now.
He's actually got 3 open now.
Yeah, 3. Okay, yeah, 3 open now. The shop has 2 open. I know Vintage Iron, they're new like us, so I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if they down the road do something like that. But those guys are able to expand and able to keep continuing and growing. They're always getting new equipment. Like, if you just watch those guys, like, you don't even need to talk to the guys. You just watch what they do and you're like, look, like that's what I want to do. We want to be able to offer our cut. Like, that's the one thing people love around here is we're always like buying something new. Like, hey, even if it's new handles, like something as basic as buying new handles or a new attachment, new yoga mats, like just simple things like, hey, or like just replacing the pads on something. Like, if something's getting beat up in this gym, we want to improve and just keep getting, like, why not buy the next best thing? Like, just keep improving, just over time, just keep improving. And it's going to speak for itself in the long term.
Oh yeah, I spoke to several members when I was there. I always try to talk to the members when I go to the gyms just to get their feel for the gym because they'll tell you the truth.
Yeah.
And they spoke very highly of you guys as owners and talked about how you guys are like they feel like you guys are trying to give them the best product you can, which is a credit to you guys. So, good job on that. And I've noticed like I talked to a few people who knew who you were.
Yeah.
And I always say that if I walk into a gym, I'm like, hey, what do you guys think about Kyle? Like, who's Kyle? It's probably not a very good gym. But if they know who the owner is, the owner's been present, like it's generally a pretty good gym.
Yep.
So,
and that's, I mean, I stamped kind of my name, myself, my face in here very early on because I was with them from open and this was my job. Like, I was here. The other owners, most of them, all of them, they all have day jobs. I'm the one that's in the gym. Now, those guys all come and help. They all are hands-on. Like, if a piece of machine's broke, I know who I'm calling. We have a back-end guy that's doing all the tech stuff. Like, everyone is all hands-on owners-wise. I'm just the one that's probably here the most just because this is my day job.
Yeah.
And from the opening day of the gym, like, I was the guy that opened the gym and not always closed it. I sometimes got some help with that, but you come in the gym, you see my face. I was always sitting out there looking for new clients. So most people, I would say, that you walk in here would know who I am.
Yeah, that's awesome. Now, while we're still on atmosphere, like, was it your decision to bring in Jesse?
It was my suggestion, yeah, because I had seen, I think I'm friends with Will up at Vintage. So
yeah,
I had seen what he was doing up at Vintage. And Will has those cool, like, custom t-shirts. So I had seen Will, like, I think I went to lift with Will and I had collected those 2 guys' contacts and I had reached out. Originally I reached out to Jesse. It was not too long ago. I reached out to him and he was like, hey, I need to know what you want, how big. And I had no idea, man. We don't do, like, I'm not art friendly. Excuse me. But I just kind of left the email, like, getting 5 owners, like, without having a sit down meeting to, like, come up with a design when none of us are artistic and know what we want. It was just going to be a tall order. So I didn't answer Jesse immediately, like, what I wanted or what we wanted. And it just happened that he was back down at Vintage, shot me a message and was like, yo, I am in the area. Do you want me to come by? And I was like, dude, that'd be great. And it just took like a quick meeting with him one evening, him spitballing some ideas, and he sent us over some drawings, and that was enough for everyone to be like, yeah, we got to do this. Like the price and everything was reasonable. So everyone was kind of all in at that point, and it was just getting a design that we all agreed on. So originally, yes, I guess to answer your question, kind of my idea, but everyone here has a say.
Yeah, the monsters are cool though. I mean, I haven't been to
Yeah.
another gym that has like giant monsters all over the walls. So
Yeah. And Jesse's original idea was pretty cool too. He was doing like big cats, like I think it was like some stone lions on one of the door, and then like a giant tiger on the other door.
mhm.
And we kind of 180 that to movie monsters. So you've got Godzilla, Kong, Megalodon, or Jaws, whichever one you want it to be, and then
Yeah,
a T-Rex. We'll have him back out in a few months because we have four more garage doors that still need paint. So we will bring him back out and
nice.
tag up the rest of the place.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I was just at a gym in North Carolina that he painted like an entire coliseum.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he does amazing work.
Yeah.
Um,
It speaks for itself.
yeah, so organization, it seems like it's set up like a fitness center, which makes sense based on the fact that you're trying to hit a whole bunch of different audiences.
Yep.
Now, as far as like you already touched on that, you guys want to do more. Like, what's next for True Performance? Like, do you guys already have something in the plans to like make the current gym bigger? Do you got current plans to like add a second location? Is that all a little too far off, or?
The second location's probably a little too far off. That property we got on the back lot. We hope one day to do like a indoor athletic, like rec center.
Mhm.
And then at that point, I think our plan is to move our jujitsu, which is in the gym. I think you saw, move jujitsu over to the other building, and that would free up a little more gym space for us. That's kind of like a long-term goal here we're working on. Plans currently, man, like I said, is just to some of the pieces of equipment that like I'm here monitoring, all the others are monitoring kind of what's being used, what's not being used. So if we see something not being used, there's no point to have it on the gym floor.
Oh, totally.
So we try to phase those kind of things out and buy something better. Or if we know a piece is just very outdated, like our T-bar it's a very old school T-bar.
Mhm.
There's a lot of better options out there now. That's one of the ones that we're eyeballing for. We have a yearly improvement fee that comes out. So that's one of the ones we're eyeballing for like a yearly improvement fee is maybe that Panada T-bar row. I like it because you can do each side. You can get a good stretch. It's got the chest support.
Oh yeah.
That's one of the ones I really like that we're eyeballing, but we're not sold on anything
I
yet.
haven't used the Panada one. Is it single arm?
It's single arm, but you have both arms, but they can operate independently. So if you want to rip one side, you can rip one side. If you want to rip them together, rip them together.
Nice.
But it's a standing, but you're bent over, and it has an adjustable chest support, and you can adjust the handles so you can get as much stretch as you want. It's like Panada, a lot of adjustment knobs, but if you get it right, it's pretty solid.
Oh yeah, yeah. I haven't been disappointed in a single piece of theirs equipment I've used. It's
No.
sometimes you got to have a lot of space to fit it on your floor, but it's pretty amazing.
Yeah. And their converging chest shoulder press combo, that Smith combo, that's one we're eyeballing as well. But
I was just at a gym in Raleigh that had that.
it's sweet, man. I've used it. It's very nice. But every June we get a yearly improvement fee from our people. But the thing we do that's a little bit different is we try to send out an email that's like, hey, thank you. This is what we did. Like, and of course they see the equipment show up not too long after, but we do like to send out that thank you email. Like, hey, this is like the money didn't go to anyone's pocket. This is what was done with the yearly improvement fee. So each year we try to kind of level up at that time of year.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, that makes sense. And I'm sure that they appreciate the fact that the money that is supposed to be to improve the gym is actually improving the gym.
Yeah. And again, we still do stuff year round. But we try to get something a little bit bigger. Like we'll get a couple pieces of equipment this year when that comes around. Last year we got the Arsenal cable tower. We might have got a reverse hyper from Rogue at that point too. We got a couple things last year.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah, I did notice there was several pieces of Rogue equipment there too. So
Yeah, we got the Rogue Belt Squad as well too. It was very fairly priced for what it was, and it works well, I think, in my opinion.
it's the only cable-driven belt squat that I've liked.
Yes, and apparently they were, well, not apparently, but they do require less maintenance because it's cable driven. So I do like that side of things too.
Most of them I've used don't have a cable, and I've used a few other brands that were cable driven, and I hated them except Rogues. Rogues I like, but the other ones I've not been a fan of.
Yeah.
I actually have one in my home gym. I'm looking at it right now. I'm sitting in my home gym. Not a Rogue. I just have a little simple one.
Yeah.
But as far as like one of the things I always ask gym owners before we get off, and I do appreciate your time.
Of course.
The gym's still pretty new, but you guys have already been through a lot. I'm sure you've learned a lot.
Yeah.
You've been involved in, as you mentioned, quite a few different aspects of the fitness industry. So I'm sure you've got a wealth of knowledge. Is there some advice or a piece of advice or a couple pieces of advice that you would give to someone who's thinking about opening a gym or wants to own a gym someday?
I mean, the best thing, I just do your research, know your area, know what there's a hole somewhere, find it, find it, but then also look at who's successful, that maybe not like we did, where like we found a hole in our area. We knew that no one was going to play to the level that we're going to play. So we continue to expand, to continue to grow, continue to get new, nice pieces that, I don't think any commercial gym or any gym in this area is going to compete with that. That's a hole that we found. We know we can use it, and we're going to. And then we, like I said, we use like other gyms that, like, I travel a lot for bodybuilding. So like we went to Absolute Recomp in Texas, similar to how you do, just traveling, going to seeing gyms. That's one of my favorite things to do. So like going to Absolute Recomp, Iron Religion, like Kissimmee Muscle, like hitting all of those gyms, trying the different machines, whether like it might not even, if it's leg day for me, I might go try an arm machine because it looks cool. And just taking that feedback, looking at machines, like I go to the Arnold, I go to the Olympia, like trying the machines that they have there, just picking up little things and just, okay, yep, that's good. Get that. That's not good. Watching the bodybuilders, like the pro bodybuilders know what's good generally. Generally, if you see them on a piece of machinery, you know that that's probably a pretty decent machine. Especially the guys that have built their own like home custom gyms. When they built their own custom gyms, that they've sought those pieces out for a reason. Old or new, like they'll know, they know the good old stuff, they know the good new stuff. So kind of just doing that survey. I know there's a long-winded answer, but just doing that survey of what's around you, who's successful, and why are they successful? What are they doing that's successful? And just mimic. You don't have to be the same as them. Forge your own path. Like it's going to be hard to find another gym like us that has the 4 or 5 different things melded into one. So find your own path, but you can take elements from everyone. Like go to a good strongman gym if you want to be like a strongman gym. Go to a good bodybuilding gym. Go to a good like athletic sports performance gym, and find your niche and kind of just carve your own path.
Yeah, no, that's great advice. And as you were saying, you were kind of 4 different gyms melded into one, and that works where you are. But if you try to open your gym like in Northern Virginia, it might not work as well.
Yeah, and that's because I'm going to go to the sports performance facility that's got an ex-NFL Redskin player as the owner. There's several of those in Loudoun County. You don't need to go to the regular gym. But that's, again, like you said, our area just doesn't have any of that. So we're able to put it all under one roof and kind of go from there. So yes, like you said, it area specific, that this might not work everywhere, but it does work here. But you can still take those, like if you want to be a good bodybuilding gym, go hit the good bodybuilding gyms. Go hit all, like watch your channel, go see all the gyms that you've reviewed really highly and go see why they're reviewed highly. And then kind of replicate that for yourself, but make it your own. Like choose your own style, put your own flavor on it. And that's one thing I think like Will Up at Vintage is really good at. Like that's all his style. That's all his, like, he's kind of created his own beast up there. And it's totally awesome to watch. Like I said, I'm good friends with Will. but he's taken elements from all the bodybuilding gyms and he's put his own twist on it.
Yeah, and it's a good mix of old school and new school. I love when gyms. Don't get me wrong, I love old school gyms.
Yeah,
but there's some amazing new school equipment out there.
Yeah,
and gyms can do a good job of mixing the old school and the new school. Like,
yep.
I don't think you can beat it.
No, and that's kind of the style we want to go with as well too. Just finding some of those old, really nice pieces, and then just mixing it with some of the new technology that's also really nice.
Yeah, that's awesome. So again, thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it. And let me know when anytime you guys the next time you guys make one of those big adjustments, I'll come back out. I'd be happy to be back out there. It was a great gym.
Yeah, of course, man. Like I said, June. Well, wait times on gym equipment, man. We'll order some stuff in June. I'll see you next year.
Yeah, if you and if you're going with Prime, then I'll see you like the following June.
We might go with some Prime. That's what's going to hurt.
So, all right, awesome. Thank you very much.
Of course, buddy. I appreciate it.
If you enjoyed this podcast, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more great content.